Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're tackling something that feels deeply personal, but is actually surprisingly universal. If you've ever felt that heavy, crushing frustration of just trying to hold your attention on one single task, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Today, we're breaking down the complex and sometimes messy relationship between focus and mental health. We're going to look at the real data, the root causes, and most importantly, how we can actually map a path forward. So let's get right into the heart of it. Why is it so hard for me to focus? Have you ever found yourself typing that exact question into a search bar at like 11 p.m.? You're sitting there, maybe you've got 3 different YouTube videos playing at the same time, you're kind of half watching all of them, your mind is racing, and you're just left wondering, what is wrong with me? Well, here's a fascinating fact, directly from the source material. This is actually the most Googled mental health question in America, literally the #1 search query when it comes to mental well-being. It's a really profound reflection of exactly where we're at right now as a society. So if that scenario sounds familiar, the data says you have a lot of company, like a lot. I really want to validate your experience right out of the gate here. If you're struggling with this, you are not broken. Millions of people are asking this very real question right alongside you every single day. This isn't just an isolated struggle, it's a shared human experience. And, acknowledging that is the absolute first step toward actually finding some clarity. Let's move to section 1 and see how this builds, not laziness, a signal. It's time to shift our perspective. We are so conditioned to blame ourselves when we can't concentrate, aren't we? The myth we tell ourselves is that a lack of focus is some kind of character flaw, that it's just laziness, or maybe you just didn't try hard enough this morning. We need to erase that entirely. Actually, scratch that, we need to completely throw that idea out the window. To really grasp what's happening, we have to stop looking at focus through the lens of willpower and start looking at it through the lens of biology. The biological reality is that difficulty focusing is a signal. It's your brain's biological way of telling you that something deeper needs addressing. Think of it like a check engine light on your dashboard. You wouldn't call your car lazy if that light came on, right? You'd understand it's a mechanism designed to alert you. Well, your brain is doing the exact same thing. So the crucial point is, what exactly triggers that fog? That brings us to section 2, the 3 main culprits. When we look at what actually sets off that check engine light, there are 3 main things. First, ADHD. That's a well-known biological factor that directly impacts your executive function. Then there's anxiety. Anxiety is a big one. It runs like a heavy background app on your phone, just quietly draining your battery, consuming immense cognitive energy, and leaving very little left for actual focus. But the third culprit, the one almost nobody names yet affects so many of us, just life. We're talking burnout, bad sleep, having way, way too much on your plate. When your daily demands exceed your brain's capacity to recover, your focus is absolutely the very first thing to go. It's just a completely natural response to an overloaded system. Which leads us perfectly into section 3, investigation without shame. Once you really internalize that your lack of focus is just a signal, whether it's from ADHD, anxiety, or just pure burnout, asking, why can't I focus, becomes this deeply useful, highly practical question. You have permission to investigate this without shame. It is no longer a confession of laziness. It's an active, totally valid reason to seek a professional's guidance to help decode what your brain is actually asking for. Just like you'd get a persistent physical ache checked out by a doctor, investigating mental fog is just proactive health management. It's about getting the right tools to clear the fog, and for that, you really need the right team. And that brings us to our final part, section 4, accessible healing in Georgia. And this brilliantly illustrates the solution here. If you're ready to answer your brain's signals, finding a low-barrier way to do that is key. For those in Georgia, Coping and Healing Counseling, or CHC, operates a 100% HIPAA-compliant telehealth practice. And that number? 159. That's how many counties they reach, every single county in the state. So your geographic location, your annoying commute, or a lack of local clinics, that's no longer a barrier to getting the support you need. The help literally comes directly to you. And behind that massive reach is a seriously robust team of over 15 licensed therapists. We're talking licensed clinical social workers, professional counselors, marriage and family therapists, the whole shebang. This is a highly diverse, culturally competent team, and they treat folks from age 13 all the way up. They offer a really comprehensive array of services too: individual counseling, couples, specific teen therapy, even life coaching. Basically, it's a framework completely designed to support you, regardless of what specific stage of life you're in. Now, let's connect the dots back to those three main culprits of brain fog we talked about earlier. The therapists at CHC actually specialize in the exact underlying conditions that trigger your focus issues: anxiety, depression, trauma, grief, relationship struggles, and acute stress. By digging into these core areas, you aren't just putting a band-aid on the symptom of poor attention, you're actually healing the root cause. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how they tackle what is arguably the biggest hurdle for most people: the cost. CHC actively ensures that financial stress doesn't become just another reason you can't focus. If you're on Medicaid, the estimated cost per session is a $0 copay. Zero! No way, right? That's incredible. And for those with major insurance plans like Aetna, Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, or Humana, the estimated out-of-pocket cost is remarkably affordable, sitting right around $30 to $40 a session. So the practical next step is super simple. All the contact information for coping and healing counseling is right in front of us. Because it's a fully telehealth practice, you can call, click, or email to schedule an appointment. And the best part? You get to attend your sessions from the absolute comfort and privacy of your very own couch. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought. If a lack of focus is just a signal, what is your brain asking you to heal today? Just take a second and sit with that. You aren't lazy. You are not broken. You're just being signaled that it's time to pay a little bit of attention to yourself. I really hope the information we've walked through today has empowered you to view your mind differently. And hey, maybe to finally make that call. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I highly, highly encourage you to take that next step.